the door itself, the image of the door, importantly, is the sort of the center of it. And I think in your painting, try not to make too much around the edges. What we say about the brickwork and the patina and everything can be said around the doorway and doesn't need to spread everywhere across your paper. So don't worry if you've got things which aren't painted around the outside or are painted very, very loosely. Okay, so I'm going to use this brush now. I could use this big brush, which has got a tip on it. And I could use that, but I want something with a tip on it, or I could use this, but I think I'm going to have better use for this a little later on in the painting. And I draw your attention now to all the variety of colors that we have on the doorway. And I'm going to ask you just to have fun and make it up. So the colors I'm going to be playing around with are, I'll go back to my raw sienna here, and I'm going to add a bit of burnt sienna to it. So I've got something ready there. Just mix up a little bit of that. And well, let's get going with this first. And so I'm going to just start to build a wall, really. And what I would like to do is not worry if paint runs into each other. There I'm building, sort of staggering this wall a little bit along here. Now, whilst the paint is wet still, and this is where you come backwards and forwards here, I'm going to pick up a little bit of this red and just drop little bits of red, maybe a little bit more of this burnt sienna, just occasionally, and let it start to paint itself there. You're putting a wet paint onto wet paint, and depending on how wet your paper is, so the paint will spread around. But what I don't want necessarily is to have the every brickwork being exactly the same. So this is where I say you just have some fun. Now, I talked about the perspective.
Well, I've got a quick question, Mike. Someone's asking, do you need to have it dry at this phase?
I'm working on dry, yes. Wow. I'm working on that first step being dry, and then I'm working over the top. But I'm happy for the wet of the paint I'm putting on to start spreading around. You really can't go far wrong here if you get some kind of an indication of the brickwork. And I'm just putting in colors as I see them. There's a little bit of crimson in that one. Or maybe I should wait a bit longer till it's a little drier. I'll go back to the first one I did, and I'll make that brick. I'll put in another brick here. I'm just trying to get a rough idea of the bricks. For the ones that are up here, I quite like I'll get some raw sienna here, and I'm going to add a little bit of this color called Aurelian. It could be cadmium yellow or something. Just make it slightly yellow, and I'm just going to. We've got now where I want the plaster still to show. I'm not going to paint that. I'm just going to leave that. So this one I put in a number of yellows here. I'll put maybe one or two in here, and let's make this this one here a little bit redder. And I'll make these ones all a little bit redder here. You can have hours of fun doing this, just building up an idea of the bricks and everything. But where you want the plaster, I've got a big lump of plaster here, and I'll have some more down here, maybe in a few. Where you want that to cover the bricks, don't paint the bricks. Just leave that for the moment. Let me see. So I will carry on doing some more bricks here. You lay bricks sort of roughly in that sort of fashion. And then go back and add some color to them. These ones that I did here earlier, I think I'll make a couple of them. This one can be a slightly redder one here. And I'm just sort of getting colors in like that. If you want to show more of the effect of the light coming on the bricks, just take it a little bit of the strength of the color out with a tissue. It'll pay off later on if you do that, and don't make things too dark just at the moment. I'm going to leave the door, and I'm going to leave the road, and I'm just going to deal with the brickwork. So just last thing before I say good luck, everybody, is I've got little spots of color showing brickwork, showing through the plaster there. And I'm just going to put those in. I'll make that one a little bit stronger and just let that paint itself. I think hopefully that's enough for you to see what I'm trying to achieve here. Leave a gap for the this freeze thing up the top. We'll deal with that in a moment. But I think now maybe is the time for you to get on and build your wall.